Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be diving into something pretty relevant, especially if you're into cannabis and the Second Amendment, the whole right to bear arms thing.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the federal government's attempts to,
Restrict gun ownership.
restrict gun ownership for those who use cannabis,
Right.
even in states where it's legal.
Exactly. It's such a fascinating case, really, of the federal government
Yeah.
seemingly stuck in a different time. We're seeing this stark contrast between, evolving state laws and this stubborn federal stance on cannabis.
Yeah.
I mean, 38 states now have embraced medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Yet the feds still cling to this, frankly, outdated notion that cannabis users are somehow inherently dangerous and unfit to exercise their Second Amendment right.
It really does feel like they're cherry picking what dangerous means to fit a specific narrative,
Yeah.
Let's be real. If we're talking dangerous,
Right.
alcohol has a far more,
A longer rap sheet.
a longer rap sheet, a more established rap sheet.
Absolutely.
I don't see anyone trying to restrict someone's access to guns based on, having a glass of wine with dinner or something.
It's a glaring inconsistency.
Yeah.
The government's attempts to justify this disparity, they
Yeah.
just don't hold up, at all when you actually, scrutinize the arguments.
Yeah.
They love to toss around that public safety card.
Yeah.
But it feels like a very thinly veiled
Sure.
attempt to just control personal choices.
Yeah.
And to demonize cannabis use,
Oh, absolutely.
Would you agree?
I totally agree, yeah.
Yeah?
It's about control, plain and simple.
Huh?
And they're trying to,
Hide behind these big,
hide behind
the official sound.
the cases, the court cases.
Yeah, court cases.
Yeah, to make it seem like they're in the right,
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Fifth Circuit ruling in U.S. v. Daniels, which is basically just saying what the government is saying is BS,
Right.
They're basically saying you can't punish someone for something they might do
Uh-huh.
based on something they've done in the past.
Right.
Which, duh, right?
Duh.
But then you've got the Department of Justice, the DOJ,
Yeah.
scrambling.
Digging in their heels.
Yeah, digging in their heels, being like, well, U.S. v. Rahimi,
Right.
which is about, disarming actually dangerous folks,
Uh-huh.
not someone who enjoys a little relaxation.
Yeah, exactly.
So just to be clear,
Yeah.
if the government wants to use that case
Right.
to justify disarming cannabis users,
Yeah.
they have to prove that those who use cannabis are actually a threat.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's where the argument falls flat. They
Yeah.
haven't been able to present
Right.
any concrete evidence
Yeah.
to support the claim that cannabis users are inherently more dangerous or prone to violence.
Right.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
My friend.
Totally. Totally.
Well, we've got this interesting case
Yeah.
that throws this whole thing into, sharp relief.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
You're going to say Robert Greene,
Robert Greene, yeah.
the Pennsylvania DA,
Yeah, the Pennsylvania DA.
who's also a medical cannabis patient.
Exactly.
Yeah,
His fight against this ban is crucial
absolutely.
because it highlights just how absurd it is
It's absurd.
to deny someone their Second Amendment rights
Yeah,
just based on what they're choosing as their medication.
right.
Yeah.
It's just absurd. Greene's case is such a powerful
Yeah.
illustration of the government's,
Overreach.
overreach and the urgent need for some reform
Right.
in this area.
Okay, so we've got this ridiculous situation
It's ridiculous.
where essentially the feds are saying,
They're saying,
sure, go ahead and use opioids.
yeah, pop those pills.
Guzzle down that six-pack,
Right.
pop those anxiety pills, no problem.
But dare to use a plant
Yeah.
with proven medical benefits,
Uh-huh.
and suddenly you're a danger to society.
It's just, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's the epitome of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse,
Yeah.
they try to paint this picture
Right.
that cannabis users are more likely to commit crimes
Right.
as if it's like some gateway drug to,
Yeah.
life of mayhem.
Right.
The reality is
Yeah.
countless studies have debunked this myth,
Right.
this archaic myth.
This is outdated.
Yeah,
They haven't opened a science book in 50 years.
Right, but the government just chooses to ignore the science.
Yeah.
Conveniently, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
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 It's like they haven't been on the internet ever.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Speaking of outdated views,
Yeah.
they also love to trot out this.
What is it?
That cannabis users are at a higher risk of suicide.
Oh, yeah,
Which, again,
Another myth.
doesn't...
Someone hold up under scrutiny. Right. It's almost as if they think we've forgotten about alcohol,
Right, exactly.
which is a depressant
A known depressant.
and is readily available
Yes.
and linked to way higher rates,
On much higher rates.
violence, and all sorts of social ills.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not saying anything about that.
Nope, not a word.
But cannabis.
Oh, that's the devil's lettuce.
Oh, yeah. Watch out.
Right.
That's dangerous.
Be careful.
Uh-huh.
Very dangerous.
So dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a classic case of selective outrage.
Yep.
You say.
Totally.
I mean, they're like hyper-focused on demonizing cannabis
right.
while conveniently ignoring this, like, you know,
The
elephant in the room.
The elephant alcohol.
Which has a
far more destructive.
a far more destructive track record.
Yeah. It's just insane.
Yeah.
It really just shows how entrenched these biases are.
Oh, yeah.
Even in institutions that are supposed to be driven by logic and evidence.
It's right, supposedly.
It's just crazy.
It really is.
Okay, it gets even more ridiculous
Yeah.
when they claim that cannabis users are just incapable of storing their firearms properly.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's a good one.
As if, like, responsible gun ownership is this advanced skill
Uh-huh.
that's reserved for those who don't like to,
Right.
enjoy a little plant.
It's like they're basically saying that anyone who enjoys a little cannabis in the evening
Right.
is automatically irresponsible and unfit to handle a firearm.
Yeah.
It's such a blatant attempt to just paint a whole community
Yeah.
with a broad brush,
Yeah.
ignoring the countless responsible cannabis users
Right.
who also happen to be responsible gun owners.
Yes. And let's not forget about, like,
The double standard.
the double standard with prescription drugs.
Oh, my God.
We've got, like, millions of people
Billion.
taking all sorts of mind-altering medications.
Yeah.
Some with far more serious side effects than cannabis.
Absolutely.
And they're not being stripped of their Second Amendment rights.
Not at all.
It's
That makes no sense.
it's totally hypocritical.
It really is.
You've got people popping benzos,
Yeah.
which can impair judgment, lead to addictions, but heaven forbid you use a plant
Right.
to, manage pain or anxiety or something.
That's where they draw the line.
That's the line.
Yeah, it's pure madness.
It's crazy.
It really is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've kind of established that the government's arguments are
They're shaky.
shaky at best
At best.
and blatantly hypocritical at worst.
At worst. Yeah.
But it's not just, the feds, right?
Right.
We've got this
Whole other layer.
this whole patchwork
Yeah.
of state laws
Oh, yeah.
that kind of adds another layer of, I don't know.
Complexity to this already messy situation.
Yeah, it's a legal quagmire.
It really is, yeah.
You've got 38 states saying,
Medical cannabis is cool.
and then Uncle Sam's just like
No key.
the big no pee
Yeah.
about gun ownership.
It's
It's so confusing.
It's enough to make anyone's head spin.
Totally. It's like playing legal limbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how low can you go
Right.
before,
You get smacked down.
before the feds come in and are like,
Right.
nope.
Nope.
And to make matters worse,
Yeah.
you've got individual states that are like,
Trying to figure it out.
trying to figure it out, trying to,
navigate this mess.
protect their citizens.
Uh-huh.
Pennsylvania's a good example.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's doing some good work.
Yeah.
They're trying to pass legislation that would, shield medical cannabis patients
Right?
from federal prosecution for owning guns,
Exactly.
which, if it passes, could set a really
Yeah.
powerful precedent for other states that are
Okay.
looking to protect their residents' rights.
It's a glimmer of hope, right? It's in this otherwise kind of gloomy landscape.
Yeah,
But sadly, not every effort has been successful.
right.
Remember that whole ballot initiative in Colorado
Oh, yeah.
to allow medical cannabis patients
Uh-huh.
to exercise their Second Amendment rights?
I remember that.
It didn't
That
even
didn't go anywhere.
make it on the ballot.
It didn't get enough.
Sorry.
It just shows you how far we have to go.
It's a reminder that we've got a long way to go
Yeah.
in this fight for common sense
Right.
and individual liberty.
Okay, but the fight goes
The
on.
fight goes on.
And what's interesting is that we are starting to see,
Like some little cracks.
cracks in the wall of opposition,
Yeah, there-
even from some unexpected places.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Like some Republican lawmakers
oh, wow. Okay.
who have traditionally been,
staunch supporters.
supporters of gun rights and opposed to,
Right, yeah.
cannabis
Legalization.
legalization.
Are starting to question this.
Really?
Yeah, like they're realizing that this is just bad policy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're seeing that criminalizing these responsible cannabis users who also happen to own guns is just
Doesn't make sense.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a sign that the tide might be turning.
It's a good sign, yeah.
Even those who've held these
More conservative views.
yeah, more conservative views
Yeah.
are waking up.
To the absurdity.
Yeah, to how absurd the situation is.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the power of,
Education
energy.
and open dialogue.
Yeah.
The more people understand,
Yeah.
the facts about cannabis and the implications of these policies,
Yeah.
the less likely they are to buy into the government's,
Fear-mongering.
fear-mongering tactics.
Totally.
Yeah.
Education is key.
Education is key, yeah.
The more we can, challenge those old narratives.
Right. Chip away.
Yeah, chip away at that stigma,
Yeah.
the better.
That's surrounded cannabis for far too long.
Yeah, it's insane.
It really is.
This whole conversation has really
That's done.
highlighted the disconnect between the feds and, reality.
Yeah.
They're
clinging to this.
clinging to that reefer madness narrative.
That reefer madness narrative.
Well, the rest of the country's, moving on.
It's like they're living in a time warp.
Totally.
The legal cannabis industry is booming,
Yeah.
creating jobs, generating tax revenue,
Yeah.
shattering those archaic stereotypes.
Right.
But the feds are just
Stuck in the dark ages.
get stuck in the dark ages.
They just refuse to acknowledge,
yeah.
The changing landscape and the will of the people.
It's crazy.
It's just a classic example
It is.
of government overreach.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to that
That deep-seated
fear
Yeah, fear and distrust.
that has fueled the war on drugs for decades. It's as if they can't fathom
right.
that adults can make their own choices
About their own lives.
about their own body
yeah.
and their own lives.
Right, they don't trust us.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to I don't know.
Divide us.
Yeah, divide us, pit us against each other, when in reality, we probably have way more in common than they want us to believe.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think most people just want to live their lives,
Yeah.
make their own choices, and not be bothered,
Be left alone.
Yeah, left
Yeah.
alone by the government.
Yeah, exactly.
And this isn't, some abstract political debate.
Right, this is real people's lives.
Real people.
This is affecting
Yeah.
real people's lives.
We're talking about people who are being denied their rights,
Who are being denied their rights.
facing discrimination and stigma
Yeah.
just for choosing a plant over pharmaceuticals.
Exactly.
And let's not forget about the economic impact.
Oh, right. The economic impact.
The legal cannabis industry is creating jobs, generating tax revenue.
Boosting local economies.
Yeah, boosting local economies.
Mhm.
But these federal restrictions are creating this chilling effect,
Yeah, a killing of
making it harder for people to participate and contribute to society.
It's like a...
It's just a lose-lose situation.
It is.
The government's losing out on tax revenue.
Yeah.
Individuals are losing out on their rights.
Uh-huh.
And the stigma just persists.
It just keeps going.
It's crazy. We need to break free from this.
This cycle of prohibition.
Yeah, we need a more sensible approach.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
That's the big question.
Yeah, what can our listeners do,
Yeah, what can they do?
They're passionate about this.
They are, yeah.
How can they make a difference?
Well, I think, first and foremost,
Yeah.
stay informed.
Yeah,
Knowledge is power.
right.
The more you understand this, the better equipped you'll be to,
Challenge the narratives.
yeah, challenge those narratives and advocate for change.
Don't just take our word for it.
Yeah, do your own research.
Right? Explore different perspectives, form your own conclusions,
Exactly.
and then don't be afraid to share what you learn.
talk to people.
Yeah, talk to people. Have those
Darn.
tough conversations with
Yeah.
friends and family.
We're elected officials.
Yeah, elected officials,
All of it.
the more people that understand this,
Uh-huh.
the louder our voice will be.
The louder our collective voice will be.
Yeah. And speaking of elected officials,
Yeah.
get involved in the political process.
Yes.
Vote for candidates that,
To support.
support cannabis legalization.
Yeah. Gun rights reform.
A government that respects individual liberties
Absolutely.
and don't underestimate the power of,
Grassroots activists.
grassroots activism.
Yeah.
Support organizations fighting for change.
Attend rallies.
Write letters. Make your voice heard.
Yeah, make your voice heard. Uh-huh.
Because this fight
Yeah.
isn't just about, cannabis and guns.
Right. This is about
Freedom of choice.
freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Bodily autonomy.
The right to live authentically
Yeah.
without fear.
Without fear of persecution.
This is a big one.
It is.
We've covered a lot today.
We have.
But as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a question.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, so does the government's focus on cannabis, while ignoring the bigger issues of alcohol and prescription drug abuse, suggest a misplaced focus on controlling our choices?
Interesting.
Rather than addressing public safety concerns?
It's a good question. It's a question worth thinking about.
Yeah.
The war on drugs
Yeah.
has been a colossal failure.
Totally.
And it's time we kind of shifted our focus to like harm reduction, education, evidence-based policies
Absolutely.
that actually make our communities safer.
We've got a long way to go.
We do, yeah.
But I believe that together,
I agree.
we can create a future where cannabis is no longer demonized, where individual liberties are respected, and where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
I'm with you.
Thanks for joining us on this Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed,
Stay engaged.
and stay engaged.